What about your friend who showed us the area?
Oh,
I don't think he had any kind of ability to deal with this. What did we know about him? What kind of class was he? Right.
Let me refresh my memory here.
I've crossed blows with him before, so I'm.
He's a cipher. Not much.
He fought with daggers. So no, he didn't have any magical skill from what you
probably
understood.
not a healer. Yeah.
But he could babysit a statue, right?
He could babysit a statue.
I mean, my thought is... Sorry.
Let's check on the whale. If the whale isn't able to heal her, we can leave her with looting.
The only problem with that is the long way back to shore from where we are.
Oh. If we head north into this right here, from there we'll be able to take our time. We'll be able to get plenty of food.
No, let's go this way because I actually know how to forage here.
Yep.
Okay, if you know exactly where the forage is, then that's a good idea.
I'm fine in that area. Like, he explained that to me well enough.
Yeah.
And while you guys drag, I can at least scout the tiles next to us.
Okay.
Ciclon, make a navigation check.
Navigation. 20.
You rolled a 20?
Yep.
I failed.
Like a nat 20?
No, not a nat 20, but a 20 on die, or 20 total.
So you're able to get back into Lutu's territory easily enough. Mahogany, you don't scout anything because you're terrible. And that takes the full day travel, and it's exhausting work. So Serenity and Bobrick both take a level of exhaustion.
But now we can rest.
Mm-hmm. But now I get to roll the random encounter.
Is it Ciclon and Bobrick?
Yeah, it's me.
That's right, it's
I was the one who's pulling.
Right, and then where to from there?
If you want to take the boat for a day, I'll drag for a day.
All right, that sounds good. I'll take the boat.
Okay.
And let Serenity drag.
I think the hilly area is better than the woods. I think dragging the sled through the woods is going to be harder than going around hills.
Agreed.
Just to be clear, we took a long rest to get the exhaustion?
Yes, you did. So you're going up through the hills?
Nodal did ask a question.
Yeah,
just to be clear to the rest of the group. We took a long rest to get rid of the exhaustion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, when we...
And the winds and the rains pick back up as you're traveling through the hills back towards the forested gorges. You're gonna push through or take a long rest here? You guys gonna push through or take the long rest here in the hills?
Let's push through, and then we can rest at there and get rid of the exhaustion we'll gain by pushing.
Yeah, because we're going to wait for him to show up anyway.
Okay. You guys are lucky. No random encounter. That would have sucked with Serenity with 2 levels of exhaustion going into that fight. So you managed to get back to Lutu's territory and explain the situation to him. So what is it you want him to do?
No, we were going to the coast.
Go to the coast.
To play the whale song, to get a whale to see if they can have any magic that can restore.
Gotcha.
I mean, we can do both things from this tile, so...
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So what do you ask Lutu to do, if anything?
If the whale isn't able to take care of her problem, we'd like him to just watch over her, see if she turns back into her normal form to explain what happened.
Okay. Riot, roll a d4.
Okay. Three.
You wait for a full day on the coast after Riot plays the song and no sign of a whale creature.
Is that a rest?
If you want to take a rest, sure.
Yeah, let's take a long rest.
You guys know enough about this hex to ward off dangerous random encounters, you and Lutu. Mm-hmm. So after the full day, after the second day, what do you do?
Is that a second rest?
Yeah.
Just making sure. Okay. Just keep waiting. You said it might be a few days.
Yeah.
At the end of the third day, Mornpod returns. Greets Riot warmly in his whaley way.
He wails.
He wails.
Yeah. And Riot explains to him, we've got a we ran into some kind of stone bull out in the desert, and one of our number has been petrified.
And he explains that he knows nothing of the creatures of the land. That he's sorry, but he's unable to help.
Do you know
Alright.
of any of your number that can cure such a thing?
He says without knowing what kind of creature caused the ailment, he wouldn't even begin to know. It's outside of his wheelhouse, so to speak.
And then Riot apologizes for calling him all the way out here.
He says, no problem, it was a pleasant swim.
Do we know? Lutu said that he came here to kind of stay out of the way of the Viridian Order, or whatever they were named.
You've seen no sign of either of the two sects since you've been on this island.
So, I mean, maybe the Viridian Order would have maybe able to help us.
Well, either way, I don't think we're going to get off of this island with this giant stone statue.
Right. We're not taking Duffner across in a boat.
Please do.
So let's make sure Lutu's okay with watching over her, keeping her out of the elements, and then let's do what we came here to do, because otherwise her being turned into stone was for nothing.
Right.
And then
I
let's
agree with
go
that.
look for.
I agree with that too.
Yeah.
I was just throwing the idea out there.
Okay. Lutu manages to... he's not bringing her up into his treehouse. That's not going to happen. But in a tree nearby, he managed to use foliage to disguise the statue into the side of one of the gorge walls. And so unless you knew exactly where to look, you wouldn't be able to locate her. And he says he can watch over her until such a time as she can be restored.
Okay.
Okay.
Then you all sail back to
Thank you,
Elfland
Lutu.
and buy soft potions.
Yay!
Well, no, we have to get the super soft because she took ill during a cutscene.
That's true. It wasn't. So what's
It
next?
wasn't really a cutscene because it was during combat.
What's next?
Back to the desert, I think.
Yeah.
We still got to find that cairn.
So which of these hexes are you searching? Where are you going?
Well, we
This
actually,
was the one that Lutu knew about, right?
He did, and he did not give any indication of a cairn of stones like the one you're looking
Right.
for.
So I'd cross that one off our list.
Yeah, I would say we start with this one. The one where we ran into stupid Gorgon face.
Sorry, what
Yeah.
happened when the internet dropped for me?
We got back to
Oh.
Lutu. He's going to watch over Dolphinder for us, and then we're going to go back out into the desert and find this cairn.
Okay.
If we can.
Okay, so let's get some investigation going here. I will let one person roll it, but they can roll it at advantage. Serenity, you're going to need to make a forage check here, survival, but DC is incredibly easy because you've got a feat that makes it essentially automatic.
Trivially easy.
It's wisdom,
Destil,
right?
your message just got to me.
17.
Yeah, easy enough. You managed to find a couple of reptiles that you think will be good eating, a cactus to wring water out of.
Who's got the best investigation? I only have a +2.
I got a 0.
I've got a +0.
+1.
Oh my god.
Kelian?
This party.
2.
2?
Either or. You want to do it or
Dolphin
should
probably
I?
has the best investigation.
Yeah, most likely.
Alright. I'll roll
You
it,
wanna-
sure.
Roll this
Okay,
with
you'll roll
advantage,
it.
because I'm assuming the
Advantage.
rest of you are helping him.
Yeah.
Oh, come on now.
Nice.
Wow.
I
Well,
quit.
we've learned nothing, so we're gonna have to search it again.
You spend the entire day fruitlessly searching.
Here's the point where it becomes a little gamey, Brick. Is if we never find this place, it's not going to be very fun. So can we know that we failed and know that we should search again?
Well, what's going to happen is you know you didn't find anything, and if you choose to search again, we roll the encounter again, and you gotta forage again.
Right.
So it's up to you. What's next?
So that's a yes, we know.
You know that you searched fruitlessly and found nothing in this desert. I gotta roll the weather again, too.
I'll
It's another
forward again.
Gorgon.
No, the wind and the rain are behaving themselves, and no random encounter.
Okay.
17 on forage again.
Okay.
Want me to try the investigation this time?
Might as well.
All right then. Investigation plus 2 to this advantaged roll of 17.
There we go. On the second day of searching through the desert, you all are just worn out from your trials in the Beastland, and eventually, far off in the distance, you find the cairn of stones. That looks like somebody has constructed it here. It's not much to look at. It's just some large, about head-sized rocks built up in a little pile. Doesn't seem to make a shape, doesn't seem to be doing much of anything except sitting there.
Well, let's dig it up.
Hey,
It's
right,
like under
let's-
the cairn.
Yep.
Is this something you can deal with, Serenity?
I mean, no. I mean, I can use a spade as well as anyone else. Maybe better.
I didn't know if you could shape rocks.
I can ask the earth to hide my footsteps, but that's about it.
How big
Well,
is
that's very
this?
polite
How
of the
big is
area.
this cairn?
It's about as tall as you are.
Okay.
So spotting it from a distance was a little difficult, but after you got closer... And it looks like with some elbow grease, you could pull all these rocks aside and get to the sand.
Yeah,
underneath.
start pulling
No,
some
you know
rocks
what?
out.
Thunderwave.
Or that. I'll step back.
Riot,
Did we find it?
Yes.
Awesome.
Riot throws out Thunderwave, and all the rocks just blast off in the distance, leaving the bare sand underneath.
Well, that's productive.
It was cathartic, if nothing else.
I approved of it.
What's
All
next?
right, and start
Start
digging, I
digging.
guess.
Yeah.
After several hours of digging, the 7 of you getting down with your hands, those of you who have tools digging with trowels or spades, Serenity's continually raging and just hacking at the sand with her axes. Eventually, one of you feels a thump as your tool hits the box, and brushing the sand aside, you find a box made out of white wood. It's about the size of a coffin.
Start dragging it out.
And with some more work, working around the edges, getting a rope down there and hauling it forward, it's incredibly heavy. But you guys put your backs into it and drag it out. And inside are 8 smaller boxes of various sizes, again, made out of white wood.
Ooh.
And each one is marked with a symbol. The little spider symbol with a stylized icon drawn around it, matching your trinket item.
Ooh, Christmas presents. Before anyone opens them,
Okay.
I am going to say to the group that we might want to check to see if these are trapped in some way, such that they can only be opened by the person whose symbol is on there. Because otherwise, we might not want to mess with Dolphiners.
I don't
Yeah.
think we want to. I mean, we'll see what's in ours, and if it's like something not useful to anyone else's in mine, there's no point to opening Dolphiners.
And at this point, Bobrick chimes up and reminds everybody that he was promised Xanthi's part of this take.
Well,
Said-
Xanthi's.
Then Xanthes can open your box then.
And Bobrick seems
With
fine
his
with that.
face on it.
Xanthes, fishing around in the box, Xanthes is very small and thin, maybe the shape of like an Xbox game. But again, it's got his mark on it. There doesn't seem to be any way to open it. But when he holds it in his hands, you see a seam form along the side. He opens it up, and inside is a folded piece of paper. And he offers it over to Bobrick, and Bobrick snatches the paper up, unfolds it, flips over both sides. The damn thing's blank. This is worthless. He throws it down in the
Let
sand.
Xanthes look at it.
Xanthe stoops down to pick it up gingerly, and he reminds you that he's blind.
I say, look at it anyway, Xanthes. It's for you.
And he unfolds it and holds it in front of his face. And after a moment, his kind of natural, regular, bemused demeanor, you see his face turn into a neutral image, and then kind of like a disappointed scowl, kind of like tinged with sadness. And then he just folds the paper and he tucks it away inside of his
What
cloak.
is it?
Was it a picture of a butt?
Says it wasn't a picture of anything. It was something I will have to consider.
All right.
Let's be honest. It's
this
Xanthes.
point-
We all thought it was going to be a picture of a butt.
Bobrick has already fished out his box, sitting in the sand, and his is long and heavy, and he opens it up, and inside is a sword. And he reaches down and takes it up in one hand. And as he gets his hand around the hilts, his eyes close for a moment. And then he smiles broadly and he says, "This is a fine weapon. Well worth the trip."
Oh,
There you
good.
go, Bobrick. That's worth 2 blank pieces of paper.
Who goes next?
I'll open mine.
Riot, yours is a very small box. Small and square, and very light. And the seam opens, and you open it up, and it looks like a coil of string.
I'll have to string my guitar with this later.
So what do you do with it now?
Right now, I just put it in my pack.
So you don't take the strings out, you close the box back up, put it in your pack?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's next?
Kelian's turn.
Kelian, yours is about the same depth as Riot's was, but much wider. And opening it up, and the box is filled with shadow.
Shadow?
Just looking into it, it looks like light is not penetrating into the inside of the box.
I sort of move the box around to try to see if I can get any sort of additional
And as you
view
do,
or glimpse or anything
you
like that.
feel the weight of whatever's in the box sliding back and forth, tapping lightly against each side. There's definitely something weighty in here. But focusing your eyes on what it is proving to be impossible.
Tilt it to a corner. Grab it out.
Yeah, I'll stick my hand and rub it across the
Put your
side. See
hand
if
in
I
the
can.
darkness.
You put your fingers
Okay.
in, and you touch smooth, cool metal, and immediately you lose focus on the world. Your eyes snap shut, and you see a vision of a Tanari blacksmith, of Vrock, crafting this thing out of abyssal metal. And he's sliding crossbow bolts into it. And you get an intuitive knowledge of what the item is and what it does. It's a crossbow bolt case that holds 20 bolts. It's empty right now. At the end of a long rest, any bolts in the case are transformed into +1 ammunition that shatters on impact.
Nice.
Cool.
Very nice.
I waste no time in putting my bolts on there then.
Additionally, if you speak a command word when firing the bolt, the shattering of the bolt will cause a 15-foot radius of magical darkness.
Damn.
Wow.
All right.
Who's next?
I'll go.
Mahogany. Yours is really small and very light. And opening it up,
Brad.
it's just a small crystal bottle.
Okay, I'll take it out.
And you touch it, and the same thing happens. Your eyes snap shut. And you get this vision of members of the Verdant guilds imbuing this magic, this small crystal bottle with magic. And you see them, it's just after their hunt. They've hunted this elk, and they have taken the meat and have eaten it, and they've taken the fur to use as clothing. But they fill the vial with its blood, and they wear it. One of them wears it around her neck, and you get an intuitive knowledge of what it is. This vial can hold the blood of any beast. Whatever beast's blood is in the vial, you can wild shape into it without expending one of your charges.
Oh, shit.
The vial, when it's full, contains 3 charges. So if you fill it up with elk blood, you can wild shape into an elk 3 times without consuming your daily charges at all.
Holy shit.
Who's next?
Okay.
What? So we're seeing everybody kind of go into a trance, like kind of like the way Dolphinder did when she did her identify thing.
A little bit, but from your point of view, it's only a second. I mean, when Mahogany and Kelian saw their vision, I mean, they felt like they were watching for 10 or 20 minutes, watching the items be created and getting the story behind it. But for the rest of you, they just snap back out after a second. And
It's
Right.
also
You
it's
might
also
want
worth noting that Kelian immediately started putting his crossbow bolts into the
Brick, can
into
I,
this
can
box.
I-
Right, you
no,
might want to
just so I
actually
can
grab a
write
hold
this
of
down.
that.
okay. What's your question?
Does it happen on a long rest, just like his does?
No, you put blood in the vial, and the blood is not expended until you decide to use it.
Okay, rad.
Both of those items require attunement, though. You have to become attuned to them.
That's fine.
Who's next?
Right, you might want to actually take a hold of those strings.
Oh, why? Did something happen?
I mean, just as I was observing the others as they were doing their thing. I mean,
All right.
friggin' Bobrick was like, "This is fucking badass," and then Kelian was just like, he grabbed his and he's like, "Load, load, 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 load."
All right, then,
So I'm like,
then
"Yeah,
Riot
you should."
takes the box out and takes a guitar and makes ready to string a guitar with it.
And you pull the strings out of the box, and your vision, you see divas flying in the air over a forest in Arborea, just a beautiful, colorful landscape. And they're playing on a harp. And you see the harp is strung with these beautiful platinum strings. So if you affix these strings to your guitar, you gain a +1 to your spellcasting modifier.
Serenity, have you opened yours yet?
Nope, Serenity
No.
and Ciclon have not.
Serenity will open hers.
And yours is large and heavy, and you open it inside, and it just, oops, I lost the page there. It just looks like a glowing chunk of stone that's giving off light.
I'll reach in and take it out.
You touch it, and you get a vision of dwarves working somewhere in a mine on Mount Celestia, imbuing the light of the mountain into this piece of raw ore. They're not working it into a shape. They're leaving it alone. But you see one of them afterwards affixing it to a maul, to a handle. This is a +1 maul. And when exposed to absolute darkness, magical or otherwise, it'll glow with dim light to 30 feet.
So I just need to take the iron fitting off my maul and put this stone on the end of it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I will
Right,
do
that's-
that when I have a chance to attune to it.
Elsie Clone, there's
Yeah,
nothing in there for you. Aunt Nancy doesn't like you.
Aww.
No, one more box for Elsie Clone behind the Christmas tree.
Yay! I'll crack it open and then take a look inside.
And it's a clutch of prayer beads.
Pull them out.
And they don't seem to have a particular color. In fact, looking at them, they seem to kind of swirl with color.
I'll kind of cock my head a couple times, which considering I look like a fox, looks kind of bizarrely natural for the way my face looks right now.
And the swirl of color does not seem to be responding to how the light hits it. Looks like these beads have a kind of pearlescent tinge to them, but they're swimming in their own color. They're not reacting to the light as you move it around.
All right, I'll pull it out of the box.
You pull this clutch of beads out, and you get a vision of a line of Githzerai monks training on a very small earthberg floating through the plane of limbo. And you see them all line up, and they pull out bows. They face off against another Githzerai at the other end, and he's clutching these beads. And the arrows just flow directly through him. When attuned to these beads, there are 10 of them. Anytime a melee or ranged attack would hit you, you can expend your reaction and one of the beads to gain displacement for that round. Which means the attacker's forced to roll at disadvantage.
Okay.
On each long rest, you can roll a d4, and if you roll a 4, one of the beads regenerates.
Can I ask you questions here?
Sure.
Does the light on the maul overcome the magical darkness?
Yes.
And is that willing or is it automatic? Like, do I have the option to turn it off, or is it anytime I'm in darkness, this thing glows?
It's automatic.
Okay.
Anytime you're... So if Kelian were to shoot you with one of his crossbow bolts...
I have a question too then.
Sure.
First question, which is the obvious question. Does my own blood work when I'm in a beast form?
No.
And second question is, do I have to have the ability to wild shape into the beast in the vial to begin with?
Well, yeah, you can't put illegal targets in the vial.
Okay. Yeah, I was basically asking if I put a bird in there, even though I can't turn into a bird, could I bird?
No, you can't.
Okay.
All these items require attunement. Make sure you mark down, especially for Serenity and Kelian, it's important you mark down the planes these items were made on. Serenity.
Oh,
Oh.
shit.
Okay.
Because magical weapons lose pluses the farther away the plane you go. Serenity, yours was made on Mount Celestia. That means it's a +1 Maul on Mount Celestia. You don't get that +1 anywhere else, but it still counts as a magical weapon.
Okay.
Kelian, same deal, except the crossbow bolts count as being forged on the Abyss.
Okay.
So they're not +1 anywhere else, but they count as magical ammunition. Bobrick seems pleased. Xanthes is the only one of you who seems despondent afterwards. And he doesn't... He's not as talkative as he was on the journey back.
I'll carry Dolphinder's box. How big is it?
Big enough to hold Mahogany's quarterstaff.
Okay.
So pretty big, but pretty lightweight. Just like it's kind of awkward to hold, you know?
It's got a pair of socks in it.
So...
That's so...
Magic
That's
socks.
perfect for her. That's perfect for Dolphin.
Make sure you mark down that all these items require attunement.
Yep.
Riot, your guitar strings do not count as a weapon, so you're not going to lose that +1 to your spellcasting mod.
Phew.
Ciclon, you're not going to lose anything with yours, and Mahogany you won't either. Was that worth 3 weeks of trekking through the goddamn Beastlands?
Yeah.
As you're walking back through the desert, back to Lutu, you come up across, just as you're entering these hills, you come across Aunt Nancy at camp. Waiting for you.
Hello, Aunt Nancy. With kind of a weary sigh.
And
Right, thanks for the gift.
Aunt Nancy responds to Ciclon, says, "Is that any way to thank someone who just gave you a wonderful gift?"
Well, I'm not that I'm not grateful. I'm just a little exhausted as well.
A little exhausted. You spent more than a month on the Beastlands. I would think you would be thoroughly exhausted. Oh yeah, you guys have been out here for a good month at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has it really been that long? The sun hasn't moved from the spot it has since we got here.
Oh, the sun never
time at
moves
all.
on Krigala. So, congratulations. Your group was not the last to find their cache. Although I count only 7 of you.
Yeah, that's a.
We're
issue
going
that-
back to the 8th now. She's here.
Very well.
She's not dead, so we wouldn't have been out in the first round.
He says, so, I would reward you all with your diligence in playing the game, following the rules, attaining each round with verve and gusto. So I will grant you all the answer to one of the many burning questions you must have for me. But only one, so think wisely before one of you speak.
He says to a group of 2 ciphers.
Can we speak between us?
By all means.
Mahogany,
Can we take a huddle? Can we take a huddle first?
Family meeting.
He says, yeah, by all means, confer with each other. And in the huddle, Bobrick immediately blurts out, so let's find out what round 3 is and get a head start.
I think we should find out what he's getting out of this.
He has to tell us that anyway.
I think we should find out a rule that we could use to our advantage. Ask for Aunt Nancy to give us a rule that could be useful to our advantage to know.
No
He's
one
got
else
to be
wants
doing
to know
this for
who
some
he is.
reason, though. Don't you guys want to know what that is?
I'm kind of with Mahogany on this one,
I am too.
I'm not opposed to that.
but I also like the idea of gaining an advantage.
If we know what he wants, we could probably use that to our advantage. Make it so that us winning gets him what he wants.
Unless he decides to answer evasively and be obtuse about it.
If he wants to do that, he can do that with any question we ask.
Can't argue that logic.
Riot, do you have an opinion?
I want to know why he can't enter Sigil.
I think we all know the answer to that one, Riot.
And to that, Bobrick just grimaces and says, I'm sure we do. He's a blasted power of some kind, of some design.
What faction is Bobrick?
The Aethar.
Okay. That's what I thought.
And for once, Xanthes does not have an opinion.
That's weird.
All right, I'll go ask.
Well, how is Mrs. Fluffy Bottom doing?
She's
What is she- what-
she hates life because she's been following you through the desert for
Okay.
4 days.
But she's not like gone up to Aunt Nancy and be like, Kelian who?
No,
Okay.
and she didn't get a box either.
And with that, Mahogany will leave the huddle and go up to Aunt Nancy.
Okay.
And he'll say, what are you getting out of this?
The winners of the game will be powerful and knowledgeable and useful to me. And at the end, when all is said and done, I will be the teller of all stories. They will belong to me.
That
Okay.
just like set off alarm bells in Ciclon's head.
You almost
They
said Khalil.
meaning
I did.
they meaning the stories, or they meaning the winners?
The stories, of course.
Okay.
Serenity just kind of looks at you like, you really think you would say it if that's what he meant?
And so is your curiosity sated?
I guess the only thing left now is what next?
Well, if I were you, I would find the shortest road back to Sigil, lick my wounds, maybe relax for a little while, as much as you can in that blasted cage. But that's just me. Personally, I'd like to think that you all have free will and can make the choices that you would. Maybe you'll build a treehouse like your friend over yonder. Maybe you'll learn to swim and go down to Arborea like your friend in Oceanus. Maybe you'll cast your new gifts aside and become desert nomads.
The treehouse sounds pretty good. I mean, I already know how to swim.
And he stands up and tips his hat, says, "If there will be nothing else, I'll take my leave of you."
See you again.
Take
When
care,
does the
Aunt
third
Nancy.
round start?
And he ignores the question because he said you get one question,
Good question.
to which he answered in riddles because he's goddamn Aunt Nancy.
Yeah.
So what's to be done with Dolphinder?
Well, I think if we take the river as far as we can, it'll be fairly easy to keep her on the boat versus carrying her. And
Alternately, we could just put her in the whale.
Yeah, we could ask the whale to carry us back toward our gate out of here.
assuming we can keep the whale on track. Yeah.
So
Because the worst comes to worst, we get here, and then we only have a few days back.
Yeah, that was my thought. Was it take those
Yeah.
couple of days to cut back to the portal, but it'll be easier to take the river with the statue.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
And I'll do you guys a solid and say the trip back is remarkably uneventful. Oh wait, you can't go through that tile. Can we go through?
Yeah, there's one tile
that
left.
tile? Can't go through that tile either.
Oh, we can. We have a folding boat.
Folding boat. Ah, it's fine.
Yeah, full boat. Both fold.
It's not the River Oceanus.
All right, and so you once again stand at the portal back to Sigil, having traveled for another week or so overland, dragging Dolphinder on a sled behind you. And we're gonna call it right there. So,
All right, what do you guys think? Another travel in the Beastlands? Let's go.
so it was actually Nick who requested the Beastlands adventure.
Neato.
I wanted to know
How
what
did it
everyone's
turn
first
out?
sentence would be.
Was it to your liking?
It was, yeah. I was. It was very entertaining.
Wow. Wow.
I'm gonna set up a straw poll here so people in the chat can vote for the bonus.
So how
split.
much of this map did we not explore?
Oh, quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
What would you have done if we got all the way over here?
We would have done another session or two of this.
Oh, Brick Road. Brick Road. You know what we have to do, right? You know what we have to destroy everyone's computers with this.
He wants to flip the
Let's
table.
hold off on that.
Okay.
For
okay.
now.
That's fine.
Let's not do that just yet. So how did the
Why would you
Beastland
do that?
stack up to Pandemonium while I'm getting my ducks in a row here?
Oh,
It was
much
roughly
better.
1,000 times better than Pandemonium.
Is that
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go with that.
1,000 times? That's it?
I would say a jillion times better.
Think
What I want to know is you
Pandemonium was
mentioned
that
some
bad.
elk. In that last week, did I get to see some elk? Because I want to turn into an elk. It's going to be rad. I'm going to be an elk.
Also elk. Also elk.
Yeah, you had to travel through woods to get back. You could have seen some elk.
Yeah, elks.
Or, do you want to hunt an elk and put its blood in your thing?
I'll put in whatever food stuffs we found on the way back.
So what do you load up the vial with? Let's make that decision before you leave the Beastlands. Because you're not gonna, when you get to Sigil, your options are gonna basically be rats and rats.
I've already been assuming that like during some of my downtime actions, I'm gonna go on a safari in the Beastlands and go hunt some, I don't know, wolf. Let me pick something that would be conceivable for us to kill and not be a huge deal.
Okay,
So give me a
so-
second to do that.
Sure.
You can start going through other stuff.
All right. I'm not giving anybody blips this session for alignments, flaws, and factions. Mostly combat session. That kind of stuff's not going to come up a lot. You know what? No, I am going to give Kelian the apathy blip because, you know what? Let's just abandon her. Who cares? Let's just leave her behind.
Yeah, that's good.
And then
deserves it.
the rest of it told us to tell him to go fuck himself,
Yeah.
basically.
It was a giant fucking statue.
Yeah.
We lost
And-
like a whole other week because she turned into a statue.
Yeah, you're probably fired by the time we get back to town.
Oh,
We'll find
I've never
out.
turned into one of these. That was fun. Let's say we came across a lone lion and took it down.
A lion?
Yeah,
Traveling
I've never turned into a lion. That sounds
Sure.
fun as hell.
Traveling across the savannas back here.
Yeah,
So you have a vial filled with lion blood.
yeah.
Actually, let me make sure that you can encounter a lion on a square like that. Yeah, lions on the list. Mammoths are too, but you didn't come across any mammoths.
One day. I've got to come across a dinosaur before I get too high level so that I can turn into a dinosaur.
So let's go through the blips here. We give a blip for the most creative solution of the session. So who are we awarding that to this week?
I would have given it to Nodal if the Gorgon wasn't too smart, but he was too smart. He was too smart for Nodal's shenanigans this week.
So we know who you're not giving it to. Who are you giving it to?
I don't know. That's my only point that I'm throwing.
So not Nodal.
If we
That-
start
your
giving
vote-
this out for people that are successful, we're never going to give it out to anyone.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah,
totally
no,
right.
I liked
it
it.
was pretty clever though. I mean, I will
I would
admit
nominate.
it was a clever idea.
I would nominate him for it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
Mahogany?
want to nominate. Yeah.
Yeah, Mahogany for that.
Yeah.
We give a blip out for assistance. Who assisted the party's gold furthest this session with their actions?
Feel free to count out yourselves with your most successful efforts, because sometimes I forget.
Honestly, I think we all did the best we could. I mean,
I'm going to nominate myself
Okay.
Okay.
Why?
because Kelian tried his best in reining in everyone who was hallucinated.
Did he
Even
really?
though
that.
it was
He just
yeah,
kind of sat
well,
down
Riot
and,
anyway.
and took the path of least resistance. He was like, "No, I'm going to hang around with Xanthes, who can't see anything anyway, so it's
yeah,
fine."
because of that, I'm going to nominate El Ciclone, because he
Yeah,
actually
I'd
succeeded
second.
at
I'd
that.
second
Yeah,
the
I
Ciclone
agree.
because he.
Also-
I thought we
Yeah,
weren't
went
going
through the
to.
effort.
I thought we weren't going to include being able to succeed at it.
But
No,
but what
we don't
Kelian did
have
at
to
first
succeed.
was he sat down and like waited for Mahogany and El Ciclone to do other things.
All
El
right, that's
Ciclone
fine.
ran around doing everything.
Yeah.
So I'd
Good
give it
for
to
you.
El Ciclone.
Elsie Clone. We give one blip for the most badass action of the session. Keeping in mind, he didn't transform into a lion this session. That's not happened yet.
Double crit on Gorgon, pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But
That was pretty good.
Double
Yeah.
crit. That was
Double crit.
Serenity?
Just tearing
That-
the flesh off.
no,
of
that
No,
was,
it was-
Mahogany.
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 Certainly only got one crit.
Badass double crit from Mahogany. And we give one for intangibles. Why else does anybody deserve a blip? Nobody else did anything deserving.
I would put forward just Kelian for the simple fact that he was kind of pushing forward his character quite a bit to the party's detriment.
Yeah.
Here's my Kelian for a different reason.
Okay.
Which is that after someone told him he should be the voice of reason, he said, "No, I'm not the voice of reason." Then tried to say during blips that he was the voice of reason, and we all told him, "No, he's not the voice of reason."
That's kind of meta.
So I'm going to get Kelian.
We're giving Kelian a meta blip. Whatever. A meta blip's fine with me. Fair enough. Let's do our belief rundown here. Alright, who wants to do the belief rundown first?
Kelian does.
Kelian! I don't have the character sheet open. What's Kelian's belief?
I can tell you that.
I'll make you all click once instead of I click 5 times. How's that?
The best outcome is what benefits me the most.
Okay, did Kelian act in accordance with that belief?
Yeah.
Okay, how so?
I think so.
If you're gonna say yeah, it shouldn't take you this long.
I'm thinking about it. I want to...
If you want some time, I've got my reasoning down
Yeah, me
pat.
too.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay, Serenity? What is,
So it's not my... Oh.
I think Mahogany talks
Alright.
first. What's your belief, Mahogany?
That everything has a perfect state of being, and that some cannot be tolerated.
And
I'm going to say it didn't really come up this session, but I did learn something, which is that it's working.
it's
Because
working.
we took somebody, we sent them to the Beastlands for an opportunity for their perfect state to show up, and it did.
And it
And
did.
they're doing much better than they were before.
So what did you
And they're
learn?
living in tune with nature.
What is it that
I
Mahogany
learned
learned?
that I learned to have actual faith in my beliefs.
Okay.
Because before, I believed in it and I thought it was true, but I wasn't 100% sure that it was working, because Mahogany's often not too sure of himself.
Okay.
And no, it absolutely is the case. Like, it's working perfect.
So you didn't learn something new, but you had it reaffirmed very solidly.
Right.
Okay. Are his beliefs changing?
No.
Serenity.
All right.
Oh, Kelian's ready. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm changing it to no.
No.
Everything in terms of combat today that he tried to do was a complete and utter failure. Outside of stealthing a little bit and the dire wolves, everything else was just bad for him.
Right.
So
And how does
I'm
that
switching
reflect?
to no.
How does that reflect on Kelian's belief?
The best outcome is what benefits me the most.
Mm-hmm.
He was in danger. He tried to get himself and his companions out of danger, and that was not a success in the slightest.
So let's explore Dolphinder a little bit. When Dolphinder was at her wit's end and looking to you to try to rein everybody else in a little bit, what was Kelian's thought regarding using that to his material advantage? Did anything cross his mind at that point?
Yeah, but on a much larger, grander, dangerous scale. Because if someone like Dolphinder can believe that Kelian has a leadership quality, then who knows who else might think Kelian has a leadership quality.
Okay. Did Kelian learn something new about his beliefs?
Other than that, no.
And are they changing?
No.
Serenity, what is your belief?
Well, my belief is that through my actions I will make the multiverse a better place. That didn't really come up, but my bond is that I was bested once in combat and it will never happen again, and she absolutely lived up to that one because she was almost killed by those wolves, but she sure as hell wasn't about to run.
Okay. Well, then let's switch over to your bond, then. Let me pull that up on the... You're never going to let it happen again.
Yep.
When Serenity was bested in combat once, what was it that bested her? How did she lose that?
It was a bear on a caravan she was guarding through, I think it was the Outlands.
Okay.
That's how she lost her eye.
I didn't know Serenity only had one eye.
That's
didn't
in her
either.
character description.
Oh, I didn't read it. I'm sorry. I probably read it 16 weeks ago.
Well, the problem is that when she turns sides, it changes to the other eye.
Yeah, she's a fighting game character.
So when she was fighting those dire wolves, is that when she flashed back to that massive bear and she dug down for something deep?
Yep.
Okay. Is Serenity selecting a new bond? Does she feel she's lived up to that one to her fullest extent?
Not quite yet.
Okay. The way that bonds work, because bonds are supposed to be kind of achievable long-term goals, if you ever feel like you've achieved your bond, I'll award you experience and we'll pick a new bond.
Oh, I might have in that case. I thought the bonds were fixed. Yeah, I think actually, realistically, I think at this point she feels like she's finally lived up to it.
Yeah, that's the difference between like a bond and an ideal. Like an ideal is something
Right,
you strive in every action, but a bond is something that you pursue.
Yeah, I think she finally had a chance to redeem herself in her own way.
Okay. When you select a new bond for Serenity, I will award you some experience.
Okay.
So think of that for next week.
Okay.
Back
I think Mahogany is working pretty close to his then.
Okay.
Because right now he's coming to. I'm not saying I should take mine yet.
Right.
I'm saying that since I didn't bring it up during my thing,
Mhm.
that I think what he's getting close to is that his goal and his reason for being is to help other people find their perfect states.
Okay. Going back to Serenity's belief, did she learn anything new?
No.
And is it changing?
No.
So that leaves... Who's next?
I'll go.
Riot. What's your belief?
Institutions of control must be uprooted and undermined at every opportunity.
And did she live that belief this session?
Didn't come up.
Didn't come up. Did she learn anything new?
Nope.
And is it changing?
Nope.
And that just leaves
El Ciclon.
El Ciclone.
It is a luchador's duty to know what heroism is and exemplify it to the public.
And did he live up to that this session?
I don't think it really came up.
Oh, it did one time.
Did you learn anything new about his beliefs?
No.
And are they changing?
Nope.
Congratulations. For the first time since we've been playing the game, nobody gets any belief points. Big, fat goose. Good job, everybody. Well done. Let me go to the straw poll. Let's award this last blip, and then I'll add up everybody's experience. I've got Mahogany as the winner of this week's straw poll.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it says. The people love you, man. What can I say?
Everybody loves.
fine, I love me
loves
too.
Zelda. Everybody loves Nodal.
Everybody loves Mahogany except himself sometimes.
Alright, so the first number I'm going to give you is your base XP for the session. You're getting XP for the wolf combat, obviously, the Gorgon, and for achieving the quest of finding the cache. The party did not make it back in one piece, so you are not getting the full experience for the quest, but I'm giving you a little bit. So, and my dog's going crazy because my wife's home. So 541 is your base. LC Clone.
Yes.
Throw in 190 on top of that.
Okay, so that I can't math.
Kelian. Throw in 380 on top of that. And Mahogany, throw in 570 on top of that.
Shit.
3 blips. Everybody's giving you the everything. Where does that put everybody in relation to level 5?
How much is
Sorry,
level 5?
I missed the total. Someone was talking to me in chat.
541. Paying attention to chat instead of your DM, I should dock you experience for that.
I know.
I just want to point out that I got 1111 experience.
I just hit level 5.
Okay. So, how many of you are over the 6,500? It's 6,500 to go to level 5.
I am.
Little
I'm
under.
200. I'm 200 points shy.
Okay.
450 shy.
Here's how it's going to work. To kind of take into account the variance of time between Sigil and the Plains, every hex we've turned over is going to be 1 day you spent on the Beastlands.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
So
a
you
lot of
guys
days.
spent a lot of time here. That's keeping in mind that you were traveling 2 hexes per day, but then you spent a lot of time on some of these hexes because you were just recuperating for so long. So a lot of time will have
And
passed
a lot of
in
these
Sigil.
we never explored.
Well, yeah,
a
the,
bunch
one,
of them we got told, but
the ones you didn't flip, I'm not counting. I was keeping track in Photoshop of which ones got flipped and why.
oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So just to go to the calendar for a second, some things that will have happened when you guys came back. Factal Hashkar will have given his address. He gives one every year on the 1st of the Governor's Month. Riot, you will have a report waiting from you from the anarchists you funded.
Mm-hmm.
Kelian, your repeating crossbows will be ready to pick up. And we may or may not be into the 3rd month. I haven't... Oh, and it might have been the day of civil judgment might have passed, which is a day that you guys don't care about because none of you were lawful, but Dolphinder would have really liked to see.
Well, she doesn't see any.
In addition, it's going to be very expensive to get Dolphinder restored when you get back to Sigil, if you intend to do that.
Yeah.
That sounds like something that her faction could take care of.
You are going to have time to level up and everything. We're going to do a Sigil session next week. It was requested that I put in some more cipher-based plot hooks. So I'm going to be writing into that next week. And I will come up with new and exciting ways to kill El Ciclon.
I'm looking forward to meeting the new band that Todd has put together.
Do you want to do that in the week and spring it on us when we come back next Sunday?
Yeah, that sounds good.
I think that's the best idea. I think it worked out pretty good for the other guys.
Yeah, I think we can always agree that Nich should be the person to come up with new people for the band, because...
That's fine.
As long as Taspod's still in there, I'm pretty happy.
Tasbit doesn't get to leave.
That's going to be it. That's the end of the session. If you guys just watch the D&D, we do it every Sunday. Otherwise, I'm going to be playing whatever during the week. We'll see.
Guys,
find out.
Guys, we got to do this before we get out of here.
Yeah,
we
do it.
Okay,
Gotta do
hold
it. Gotta do it.
I gotta.
Let me zoom out. All right.
I gotta find the menu here. Hold on. There's a menu here. Is it permissions? Yeah, permissions.
Here's the question: are those orbs going to stay locked in space, floating?
All right, go ahead, McDohl. Do what you got to do.
Let's go, guys.
Oh god.
So I'm about 2 seconds per frame here. I'm not in frames per second anymore.
I'm actually
like
getting pretty good now. Like I can zoom in on these as they fall.
That was okay.
That was delightful. I enjoyed it. I was happy. I'm very happy. We haven't done that in a while.